Welcome to Confirmation Bias, presented by the League Ambassadors.
I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken, and there were two winners from yesterday's marathon match at Wimbledon between Nadal and Muller. One was Roger Federer, and the second winner was the fans. That's my confirmation bias.
I'm Ambassador Junior Blue, and while Serena is out starting a family, Big Sis is going to take care of her 6th Wimbledon championship, and that's my confirmation bias.
I'm Ambassador Dad, and who would have thought criminal charges would make you focus more? Venus Williams has taken a page from the great Kobe Bryant out of his book, and now she's playing for her freedom right now in Wimbledon, and I think she's going to win, and that's my confirmation bias.
It's all bad. Players are complaining about the grass courts and their condition. I think they all need to take a chill pill, take a flight to Cali, because we got that good grass. That's my confirmation bias.
Now I'm Ambassador Chef Curry. Studies show that when Ambassador Junior Blue takes a show off, the show goes off the rails. That's just living proof that less really is more. And that's my confirmation bias.
Shit.
Kev, you gotta stop doing that, man.
Hey, Kev. I think you just hooked my sizzle up for me.
Foreshadowing. And with that being said, everyone, welcome to Confirmation Bias, hosted by the League Ambassadors. I believe this is episode 33. As a reminder, check us out on social media across our handle, which is at the League AM on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and also check out our website, theleagueam.com, where you can find all of our content, all of our shows, written material. You can also find our Blogspot diplomatic community, where fans and viewers can submit their writings as it pertains to the world of sports. For those of you that are watching live on Facebook, please submit any questions or comments that you'd want us to attempt to answer at the end of today's show on our Diplomatic Community segment. Don't forget to download Confirmation Bias or wherever you watch podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel under the League Ambassadors. So without further ado, someone get Kenyon another wipe over there. Pastor Eights. And then we're going to get the show started. Pastor Kev, take us away, sir.
All right, guys. Well, our hot topic for today's show is none other than the WNBA All-Star Game. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about Wimbledon, of course. We're 1 weekend, and after Manic Monday, it's a lot to talk about in the world of tennis. On the men's side, we're in the quarterfinals. 3 of the top 4 seeds are still alive. Sorry to see Nadal take that high L. On the women's side, it's a crapshoot. They're in the semifinals. None of the top 5 seeds are in the Final Four. The number 1 seed, who just can't seem to get over the hump, fell once again. I'm sure we'll get into that. A former champion, as Devin mentioned, is probably beating a murder charge, so it's easy for all of us to...
Correction, she has not been charged.
She has not been charged. Oh, my God. You trying to put another black person in jail. What's wrong with you?
They have video showing that she was in the right.
Yeah, the police cleared her. They cleared her.
Dang.
That's probably why she's playing well. Devin?
Hey, it sounded better that way. A better story. Took some liberties with that.
Well, we'll take it there. What do you guys... Your biggest takeaways from this past week? I guess we can start with Serena, Devin. I mean, with Venus. Sorry, Devin. She was.
She's still
the confirmation. I know, right? She's still taking that L.
I mean,
but what'd you take from her?
I mean, I think it's wide open for her. I mean, she has the experience. She's playing well. She's only lost one set so far throughout the entire tournament. I don't know how else everyone else is doing, but she's smoking right now. I mean, she has the upper hand, I think.
It's it's unfortunate because and jumping the gun a little bit, but I wish that the final would be her versus Johanna Konta.
That's the semis.
But it's the semifinal matchup. Johanna Konta is the British. She's the hometown favorite.
Yep.
And I think that'll be an interesting. I think that'll be an interesting matchup for Venus. Venus has beat a lot of the youngins. That's what she's had a lot of, and she's handled herself very well. But it is wide open for her. This is a good opportunity for her to set up to get what you say this would be her sixth one.
Six.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the thing with the tournament. We talked about it before where the women's side was completely wide open. And now we see with the top 4 seeds, none of them are there. So it's truly wide open. And hopefully Venus can, hopefully my bias is confirmed and she actually takes it home.
Yeah, there's a lot of oozas and ozas and ovas that are.
Are you talking about a Wozenak, Muguruza?
Yeah, there's a if your last name ends in an A and you're a female and you're playing tennis, chances are you've had a good Wimbledon. So we'll see what happens.
Did you guys know that Kiki Vandeweghe's niece?
Is that her?
That's
it's
Coco.
Her. Coco. Her name is Coco. So you got Kiki,
put it in my pocket and make it Coco
mm.
sexy, baby. That's my thing.
She took that high L.
Yeah, she took it.
She did.
She made it a lot farther than you would expect, though.
As far as switching and looking at the men, which a little more predictable as far as who's still alive. Like I mentioned, 3 of the top 4 seeds are alive. We kind of predicted Nadal's fall, though.
Yes.
On our show a week or so ago.
He
So
predicted it.
We didn't even think he was gonna play.
But he went out like a soldier, though.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, he had a great match.
Yeah,
Ended
but
up
he
just
may be
falling
out for
short.
3 years because of that.
But what other than that, out of the season we have left, what did you guys take from the men's matchup? Was there any particular a match that struck your eye, or you think is foreshadows what we may see in the next 2 rounds?
I think I think we might have a very interesting semis because I think whoever comes out of one particular side of a bracket, because someone has it slightly easier, I believe. The hometown,
Murray.
Andy Murray.
Murray doesn't have to face Federer or Joker,
Right.
And they have to face each other potentially if everything holds serve.
Right. I think that's what we're headed to. We're headed to a showdown, which is the match I want to see, and I think everybody wants to see this, which would be
Federer.
Murray versus Federer, the hometown defending champion, going against a guy who is in the middle of another. Well, it's not another. It is the old man resurgence.
Yeah, it is definitely a resurgence.
And he's on and cooking, so it will definitely be interesting.
Well, we've already seen Murray versus Joker like 2 or 3 times in that final, though, right? I mean, Joker won. They split if it's 2 times, I believe. But Murray won his first one.
Yes.
Versus Joker, which was a great match. But
I mean, even if that's what we see again, it's still going to be a good match. So
Federer hasn't dropped a set.
Well, do we have a preference, and you guys have a preference on who you'd rather see? I'm sure we would all like to see Andy Murray being the number 1 seed, defending champ, return to the final. But anybody have a preference on who he faces, whether it be Federer or Joker?
Federer.
Oh no, Federer definitely.
yeah, it'd be a better story
Yeah.
if he makes it. Because I mean, goodness gracious, that match that he had, I want to say 2 rounds ago versus the Italian, the guy that always gives him problems. I can't think of his name. He was just trying to give it away. He couldn't make a drop shot for shit, and it was just like, man, like you're the number 1 player in the world, and you stay fucking up. But he's here now. So he
That's why he's the number 1 player in the world. He's fucking up and he still won.
Yeah, you're talking about the 5-setter. He was down. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, switching it up a little bit, another storyline that you thought was kind of interesting was it, especially if you had time to check the press conferences, that the players were complaining about everything from bad court conditions to the weird overtime rules where in Wimbledon, like the Australian and the French Open,
I told
it's
him
no
to get
fifth set.
the grass at. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you did. It's no 5th set tiebreaker, though, in the final set. In scheduling, which we'll dive into a little bit. For example, Djokovic was scheduled to play Manarino, I believe, on the number 1 court on Monday afternoon, but the match got postponed until Tuesday because of the lengthy match between Mueller and Nadal. And Joker was adamant. He was, upset about his match being postponed. He felt like that they gave Roger Federer more of an advantage and time off to to prepare. But I just want to ask you guys, as far as players complaining and just the different things that have come up in Wimbledon, is this like the first time we've seen this? Do you guys think there's a reason behind it, or is it just there's stakes on the line,
Well,
and just like any competitive final?
They always complain. There's always some complaints, but it kind of feels like everything came to a head this year, like the complaints about the grass. But truthfully, it's basically what do you call that? Global warming. It's one of the longest, hottest summers they've had, and there's nothing they can do about it. So why are you complaining about it?
And in terms of the court scheduling, that's been a constant Wimbledon complaint.
Yeah.
Players not being able to play on the main court, either center court or court one. And the chief, the chief of Wimbledon actually came out and spoke yesterday and said, listen, we put the people on the center court that the fans want to see, which the fans want to see either Venus or Serena, because they've been champions forever.
Right.
Andy Murray, because he's the number one seed and he's the hometown favorite, and Roger Federer, because he's also won a shit ton of Wimbledon matchups. So it's not really rocket science. And I think, to your point, Omar, and we've talked about this before, even when we had our tennis segment a few Thursdays back, tennis players, they seem to be really particular, very sort of
Man, your politics is awesome.
they got some tendencies, is what I would say. And so this is just par for the course, to use a golf analogy.
But they also have to fit the doubles matches in there too,
right?
And they're limited in their the daytime. But I heard somewhere that because of their geographical location, that it stays lighter there longer, and they also have a retractable roof. So why do they cut those things off? Like why couldn't they have closed the roof and let Joker play? Does anyone know why they don't extend those?
No,
because it stays light till damn near 10 o'clock there or later.
I mean, there's always some legitimate things they can complain about. That's why I just feel like this year it was just like everything was on top of it. Because, and I also think with the complaints about the center court is Serena's not there. So people thought they were going to get some shine.
And particularly on the women's side.
Yeah. And it's like,
they thought they were going to get some center court.
You should have got some shine with her being there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the women's side, another complaint as far as scheduling has been that of the 6 matches played on center court and the number 1 court, that only 2 of those matches were from the women's draw. And that's something that even Andy Murray acknowledged in his presser. But I think, again, to the point Kenya made, it could be because, like we mentioned before, it's a crapshoot. Serena isn't there. It's just Venus. Is there any legitimacy to that? Is it something that...
No. Again, if your last name ends in an A and you are female... That could be literally anybody.
They really thought they were going to get some shine because Serena wasn't there, and Wimbledon is like, nope, this is a business decision. We're not putting you there just because you're a woman. We putting the people there who the fans want to see.
The number one,
blame it on the fans.
The number 1 seed, Angelique Kerber, and number 2 seed, Simona Halep, they stay losing. Yeah. So why would they be featured on the center court? No one did give 2 shits about that, mate.
Yeah. We said the women's shit is wide open, so like there is no star to shine to.
Absolutely.
Unless they do their hometown girl.
We'll see you in the finals, whoever wins the lotto.
Right.
Okay, well, especially when 3 of the 4, like we mentioned, 3 of the 4 men have a legitimate chance to win. So in this case, I can't blame them either.
Nice. All right, it's time for Black versus Blue.
Was that your cue, Omar? Nice.
Let me
He
get
was
it
a
in there.
freestyler. He was a freestyler trying to reset himself.
Turn my vocals up, B.
Nice.
Turn me up in the headphones.
You threw a beat on there. It might have won something. All right, newsworthy or not, Amanda is it Nunez or Nunes? Nunes pulls out of her headlining fight versus Valentina Shevchenko at UFC 213. Besides Dana White shitting on her for like 2 paragraphs long in his statement. Is this newsworthy or not?
Absolutely, it's newsworthy. Can you imagine if we had a boxing pay-per-view where the main attraction
Floyd Mayweather
pulls out
says because I'm sick
after he was cleared medically
twice.
Right.
Yes.
Twice.
And then makes a phone call and says, I just don't feel up to it.
and considering that with the demise the career demise.
Let me be clear.
Thank you for clearing that
Yes, yes. The career demise of Ronda Rousey, Nunuk is supposed to be this
next
new
in line.
star
Yeah,
next in line.
She took out Rousey and she took out Thames. I think that's her name. What's the other chick? She took
Whoever
out?
She took out
Holly
Humber.
Hames. Holmes
Yeah,
or whatever.
Holly Holm.
Holly Holmes.
Yeah, so she's supposed to be next, and like you can't do this. That's crazy.
How long until
Day
the
of.
fight?
The day of.
Day
Till
of.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is the third year in a row that the International Fight Week that they have, the main event has been
pulled
canceled.
out, yeah.
So-
And that's why Dana White was through.
So it's bad for business.
And they had to refund tickets.
yeah. Bad for
Imagine the
business.
people who flew in.
Right.
They had a lot of fans flying in from
Those are
out
big
of the
events.
country. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, all right. So it was definitely newsworthy. All right. After a bad game one, and I wrote LeVar.
You did it again.
And I can't blame it on nothing else.
Yeah,
but I
you
wrote
can't-
LeVar.
yeah.
Lonzo Ball comes back in the Lakers' second Summer League game to have the first triple-double in Summer League games since 2008. The first game was horrible shooting night for him. Is it hope or hype that the Lakers made the right pick at 2?
I'm
Kenya.
gonna hold mine to
Kenya.
last.
Nah, this
So,
is
yes,
this is
for
this is
perspective.
hype. Why are we talking about summer league? First of all, we talking about summer league, not the NBA, not the playoffs. We talking about summer league.
Less.
It's practice.
It's summer league.
it's hope because the first game was horrible. But hey, he's my starting PG.
Omar.
It's summer
rolling with
league.
it.
Omar.
Devin.
Nah, I'm gonna ask you.
No. Devin.
It's absolutely hype because the first game was so shitty. This game was a triple double. It's a wash. It doesn't mean anything. It's
Well, it's not.
Summer league.
Well, no,
It's summer league.
It's summer league, but you got to say it hope because if you had to back it up with another bad game, what would you be saying then?
It's summer
No,
league.
it's summer league because one thing you have to look at here is he's playing against other rookies and other people trying to make it in the NBA.
Right.
And they're not even playing by real NBA rules. You get like 10 fouls.
It's summer league.
I'll say it's a wish. I wish he would have put that triple double up against De'Aaron Fox.
Ooh.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Somebody's asking that
So
question.
I'm moving
Yeah, no.
on.
I'm not taking that motherfucking bait.
In 2002, the MLB Major League Baseball All-Star Game ended in a tie because it is a game where the managers were making sure everybody was happy, everybody got a chance to pitch, and they ran out of available pitchers. So the commissioner ended the game. The fan uproar was horrible, so then they came up with this time it counts. So the outcome of the game decided home field advantage for the World Series. They did that for, what?
14 years.
14 years. Now it's going back to being straight, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a hit or flop that is going back?
This is a home run hit.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly.
This has been one of the worst decisions I think Major League Baseball has made because for the simple fact that baseball is one of the only sports where every single team gets an all-star. So someone on the worst team in the league can determine whether or not someone gets home field advantage in the World Series. Is completely ridiculous. Remember the year that the Yankees won like 120 or 14 or some games? If that was during this time, and the National League won the World Series, they would have had home field advantage. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Agreed.
The rule change is definitely a hit. The game, however, is a flop. It's still it's still 1-1, and it's the eighth inning. That's the flop.
But the one thing I will say that did change was managers were embarrassed and they started being competitive in how they managed the games. And that I'm happy they're doing because at one point it was just, all right, this person, time for him to pitch. It's time for him to pitch. Now it's, all right, you don't have a choice. We trying to win this game.
But it's such a hard all-star game to have when you have to choose people from every team.
Right.
Right.
One thing that I like, Bryce Harper said the other day, and I think this should be the first step in terms of making the game more interesting. And he talked about how they should employ the fantasy draft methodology to it, so that the two leading vote getters get to actually pick the teams, so that you could have
Like Sandlot style, old school,
right. So
take
you
it back.
could have a situation where, say, Bryce Harper is now going against Matt Scherzer, his pitcher.
And guess what? The Major League Baseball started a committee to make the game cool again, basically.
That's cool.
And he's on it.
Oh, great. Yeah.
He's
So
marvelous.
so
Yeah.
hopefully this is the first step. In a
But
few
you know
changes
what was a hit was that home run
derby last
derby
night?
yesterday.
Yeah.
to the game. Which also makes this game a flop. Because that home run derby was stupid.
Yeah, and I'll agree with Kenyon. I think that is a good idea. I think it's definitely a hit for Major League Baseball, but it is just another sign that it takes them so much longer than any other league to do the right thing.
Sounds like America in general.
That's baseball, right?
That's
American
America.
sport.
Man, that last home run he hit.
Time for the bell.
Last
Oh,
home
y'all
run
don't want
he
me to
hit-
say it? America.
The last home run he hit the back of the fucking building and
For
truck.
real.
Player number 99?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Player
that's
99.
player 99.
MLB The Show.
Right.
Jeez.
All right, it's time for Is You With It or Nah? Is you with it or nah? Today we've got Ambassador Chef Curry with the
Let's
stick.
do it. Let's do it.
We've got him going up against Ambassador Junior Blue. And I like this. I'm really interested to this. Devin is going to be the judge. It's the topic is Kirk Cousins. 2 years in a row now. He's been franchise tagged. We got about a week now. And Washington's got a decision to make or not. And so the debate topic for you guys is, what should the Washington Redskins do? Should they stay with what they have and give this man the long-term extension that he has earned? Or should they continue to play this franchise tag game, eventually capping? I am going to flip a coin. We'll have Junior Blue call it in the air.
Tails.
And it is tails. Tails never fails. Which side of the argument do you want?
I'm going to go for long-term deal.
Washington should give Kirk Cousins a long-term deal. Kevin, do you want to go first, or do you want your elders to go first?
I tried to butter him up in the intro. but
Didn't work.
Didn't work. Let's go first. I want to see what he's got to say.
You got the clock, Dev?
Got it.
All right, let's go.
Leslie James.
3, 2, go.
All right. Kirk Cousins deserves a long-term deal. He has been a starter for the Washington Redskins for the last 2 seasons, never missing a game, after the departure of Mr. RG3. The same RG3 that the Redskins gave up 2 first-rounders, a second-rounder, and a third-rounder in the draft that they also got Cousins in. Cousins had averaged 4,500-plus yards per game and 27 touchdowns over his first 2 seasons. In his first year as a full-time starter, he led the Washington Redskins to the playoffs, which is a feat in itself considering they've only made it 4 times in the last 24 years. Last year, they were 1 game from making it from the playoffs with a horrible defense and a no running game and a running back who kept on fumbling the ball away. Gruden's offense is tailor-made for Cousins, and he has been in the system for 4 years now. He has been at the top of the league in completion percentage and has had a better quarterback rating than Breeze, Roethlisberger, and Rodgers. Daniel Snyder has made some blunders as far as signing quarterbacks in the past. Let's take a look at this. He gave Donovan McNabb $73 million with $40 million guaranteed. He also signed Mark Brunell to be his starting quarterback. He signed Jeff George to be his starting quarterback, giving them both big contracts with 0 production for the Washington Redskins. All Cousins has done in his short time as the Redskins QB is become their 6th QB in passing yards and TDs and number 1 in passing ratings. So pay the man that has put the work in on the field. And that's it.
Got all types of ums, Kevin.
He does. I also heard him use the R word, which I thought we were against on this show.
Oh, that's a low blow, Kev.
Hey, that goes a long way with the judges. All right, Kev. 3, 2, 1.
All right. The Washington football team isn't completely sold on Mr. Cousins, and they're right not to be. Cousins did put up great numbers last season, as Leslie mentioned, but they are just numbers. He finished with the 15th highest passing season in history. And where did that get them? To a whopping 3rd place in their division. Cousins' best games last season were against the worst defenses in football: Detroit, Green Bay, Philly, and Chicago. I'm sorry, Omar, you're my man, but You guys were trash.
You lucky I'm not
some of the
judging.
worst statistical defenses ever. Over the last 2 seasons, they went 9-7, 2015, 8-7-1 in 2016. They haven't won 10 or more games since when? That guy RG3's rookie season that Les mentioned in 2012. So in 2016, of course, was offensively productive for Washington as a whole. The most talented Washington roster in some time. But Cousins relied on both Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson on the outside. Both of those guys are gone. So I think as far as their financial options, Washington could use the transition tag, not just the franchise tag, but the transition tag, which provides them less protection, but it'll still allow them the right to match any offer that Cousins may get if he's franchised next year and then hits free agency. So this upcoming season, we're really going to find out how good Captain Kirk is. And if you're going to pay a guy J.J. Redick type money, it's best to find out if he's worth it first. So for me, I would make the mistake that other franchises do in paying a guy before he proves his worth, and then your team is stuck paying a mediocre quarterback top dollar while you're stuck at the bottom of the division for the foreseeable future. In a division, the only division in football where every team already has their franchise quarterback. Indigenous folks.
You know what? I got to say, I think, and I was really excited about this debate topic, I think that was the best debate I think that we've had all season.
Of course, it's the one he picked, right?
I'm just saying, no, there were two very good arguments, because for me personally, before I throw it to you, Dev, I got through listening to Les, and I was like, yeah, Les. But then when Devin.
Well, let me rock. So
Devin.
I agree. Very, very, very good. All right, so and yes, that's Eddie Murray.
That's Devin, and that's me. Your family.
And that's Eddie Murray in the back. Anyway, my thought going into this is
Who's the dude with the way too low V-neck though?
That was Joe.
I know.
That's Joe.
Do you get rid of a quarterback when you don't have one? And that's what I was thinking. And he has been productive. But Kev dropped Leslie. He dropped Washington football team. And then with the transition tag, I have to go with baby brother on this one.
Yes, indigenous people.
But I think it's a great argument, because you're right. I mean, why get hamstrung with, when you don't know what you're gonna get? I mean, Kirk Cousins is Mr. How You Like Me Now.
The point about not having Pierre Garçon, Deshaun Jackson, we are gonna find out a lot. But he has produced.
He has, yeah.
First off,
he's produced.
He's also disrespectful. Because, I felt like that was kind of Shaq-ish. And that's how Shaq got traded. You know what I mean? There's a respect level, dog. You one of the highest paid players in the league. Don't disrespect the people who pay you. That's all I'm saying.
You like that?
Omar is always about he's always about the boss.
Toes in line. And
Him and Dame Dash would have an interesting discussion.
Hey, but to make the debate even more complicated, I do agree though with Les that I think you got a bird in the bush. You got to take it, because what's the alternative? You go back to being a 4 or 5 win team. You got to sign them. You got to.
Yeah, and great job by digging up those used to do quarterbacks that they signed all that money. I mean, Jeff George could have been good a long ass time ago, and they got Donovan at the end of his career.
Donovan got 40 guaranteed.
40 guaranteed. That's crazy. Incredible and crazy. It's just in crazy.
All right. That was good.
Kevin's excited.
So we have one question, and it is, did Lonzo duck Fox?
Yes.
Who asked that question? You know what?
It's a family thing. It's a family thing.
Was it Norman Johnson again?
That had to have a Johnson at the end of that.
He was angry. He was angry at something and decided to take it out on us.
Full disclosure, he is a Laker fan though.
Oh, well then you know the answer. Come on, how are you ducking somebody? I said this yesterday to Les. How are you ducking somebody that you're going to see 4 times in a year, that you saw in high school, you saw him in college? No, he ain't ducking nobody in Summer League.
He did see him in college. He saw.
Yeah.
very
He
well.
saw a lot of them.
And the other thing is the injury was legitimate. Luke Walton had talked about in the game before the game that both he and Brandon Ingram
And it wasn't
got
like
hurt
they
in
just held him
workouts.
out. They held all the picks.
They held-
out.
yeah,
Except for-
exactly.
except for
I
Thomas.
know, but you know.
Hey,
No, there's no but.
And
no.
even Fox said, "Look, nobody's ducking anybody. We play on the same conference. We gonna see each other."
I would have
Nah,
a serious.
hey,
I would
left
have a
feels
serious
different.
problem. I would
Civil
have a
War.
serious problem if Lonzo actually was like, "Hey, my groin's sore. Sit me out." But he didn't do that.
He didn't do that.
He didn't do that.
Yeah, there's much ado
He didn't
about
do that.
nothing.
But you know, what was the
Oh, hater ass.
Duck goose.
what was the tweet that Fox removed? What did he? Did anybody catch?
He
what
just
It was
just
the
the-
little emoji,
The little
hand
baby
on his
emoji
face.
hand on his
Yeah.
face.
Right. So he
And you know what? That's some sucker shit too. While we talking about it, if you put the tweet out there, stand with the
delete it.
tweet. Don't
Yeah.
delete the tweet.
Nah, that's your media training.
Nah, that's some sucker shit.
Because he
No, somebody told him to remove it.
That's some sucker shit.
yeah. If you gonna do it,
You a millionaire.
Right.
If I'm a millionaire, I'm standing by
I've
my
been a
tweets.
millionaire 3 days.
Hey, figure it out.
Hey,
I don't know. He
The
did
check
go to
ain't even
Kentucky.
clear yet.
He did go to Kentucky.
Hey,
He
though.
wasn't a
Hey,
millionaire.
Kenyon yells, "That's some sucker shit," after someone says our argument is so articulate. Thank you, Doris Huff. Thank you.
and that is the genius and beauty of this show.
And with that, it's time to get up out of here before
The train goes fast.
before we ruffle some more feathers and fuck this whole thing up. That's our show for today. Thanks for joining Confirmation Bias. Again, please check us out on all social media at our handle @TheLeagueAM. Our website, theleagueam.com. Check out Diplomatic Community. Submit some of those writings. Check us out on our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors. See you guys Thursday.
Go, Dev, go.
I'm trying. Liking is cool, but sharing is caring.
Indigenous people.
Let's go.